I like to start with what I know and then work towards what I don't know. I wanted to take the formality of the house and the informality of the woods and kind of make the two combine. I'd like to show you how not to mulch around a tree. Our next step is a very important step, but it's a step that I see very few landscapers doing. You want to make sure to have variation in your heights. Look at how lovely this is. We just cued the butterfly to come in. How you doing today, folks? Yesterday I was out maintaining this yard and I noticed that some of the flowering shrubs weren't flowering as well as they should be. And that kind of led me to want to make this video today, which is going to be some of the reasons that your flowering shrubs may not be blooming as well as they should. And before we get to that, I just want you to take a look over my right shoulder here. This is a weeping Heigen cherry, Prunus subhortella pendula. And check out how beautiful that tree is. It's now early May, it's May 8th here in Newtown, and our weeping cherries are in full bloom. The first thing I'd like to show you is this grouping of azaleas, which isn't blooming yet, but it's going to be blooming soon. And if you take a look, you can see all the buds right here. There's a bud. It's a beautiful white flower, and I couldn't tell you the cultivar. I did not plant this landscape. But if you take a look at the back of the plant, you'll see it's just chock full of buds. But then the edges of the plant, they're just sticks here. So what's going on here is the deer have been coming and nibbling the buds on this azalea. And that's why we've got just sticks on the outside moving back to where the deer can't reach. The next shrub I want to show you is this Hydrangea Macrophylla, or big leaf hydrangea. And if you take a look at this one, you're going to see that all the buds are kind of shriveled up and dead. Now, Hydrangea Macrophylla is going to bloom on the previous season's growth. So first off, when you prune these, you want to be careful not to prune them late in the season because you'll be pruning off last year's growth. But what's going on here is all the buds that would have this year's flowers have basically been killed. We had an extremely cold winter and all the new buds have been killed. What we should be seeing, and we see a little bit of it down here, is these branches with buds that are leafing out. And there's some here too. And this plant is going to be fine. It's got some new growth coming, but the winter, it just took its toll on this poor plant. A good way to test whether the branches are still alive, and I try to do this in an area that's not as conspicuous, is I'll just go ahead and grab the branch. Let's try this one. I'll just grab the branch and twist it and kind of see if it snaps or if it bends. And this one, there is sap coming out of it. I can feel its moisture and it's not making a clean break. So these branches have life in them, but unfortunately all the buds have been killed off. So what I'll do is I'll come back with clippers and clip just below where I bent it, but then we'll let this guy leaf out and see if any of the buds make it. And then once it's fully leafed out and looks like there's no more chance of anything growing, we'll come back and cut all these branches down just above the new growth. The last reason I want to discuss today why your plants might not be blooming is it depends on when you prune them. Shrubs are going to either flower on the previous season's growth or the current season's growth. Most shrubs, 90% of shrubs. There are some cultivars that behave differently. But if you've got a shrub like the rhododendron here that is loaded with buds, if you take a look, these are all the buds. If I had come through at the end of last year and pruned this and cut all those buds off, it's just not going to have any buds. And that's a big factor as well. Shrubs that flower on the previous season's growth, you have to be a little bit more careful than the ones that flower on the current season's growth. Back in the day when I mowed lawns and I'd be around a lot of different houses, I'd see a lot of homeowners who would wait until July, August to get out their hedge clippers and clip their rhododendrons and their andromeda. And they'd make balls out of them, which I'm not a big fan of. but they'd also end up cutting off all the flowers. So my customers would ask me, why are there no flowers on my shrubs? And they would have these very neatly pruned boxy rhododendrons or andromeda or balls that were nice and tight with foliage from all the pruning, but there were no buds or very few buds because they had all been cut off. So just be careful before you prune a flowering shrub. Look up when it blooms, and if it blooms on the previous season's growth, make sure you prune that very soon after flowering. Don't wait too long, because once those buds start to form, you're going to lose them. So folks, if you're having trouble with your plants not flowering, take a look around. Are there a lot of deer in your area? Have the deer been eating the flowers off your shrubs? Was it a really cold winter and maybe some of the buds got so cold that they got killed? And then, when's the last time you pruned your shrub? Did you prune a shrub that flowers on the previous season's growth too late in the season, which causes them not to bloom? Those are just a few examples of things that it might be if your flowering shrubs aren't blooming. Thanks a lot for watching today, folks. Have yourselves a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye. This is pretty cool. We've got some old-fashioned bleeding heart growing in the crack between the driveway and the house. Boy, I just love tough plants, tough, beautiful plants. And if it grows in the cracks of the driveway, it's a keeper. Before we go too much farther, let me just step aside and show you the before. So here's your after shot. Let's go ahead and show you the before. My goal with this planting was not to just do a whole bunch of evergreens, but to try to mix some evergreens and some flowering shrubs so we would have both interest in the summer with the flowering shrubs and then the coverage in the winter.